at a very fundamental level, whenever most of the companies in our market started building, like you said, in the US or in, for example, in Europe, specific countries in Europe, they actually built most of the time for mono-country solutions. And what that means is considering global time of policies, considering EOR workers, contractors, etc., was not part of their framework. So what happened is, as we kind of evolved, instead of having this at the very foundational level of how they built even their databases, right, they had to start adding things on top, right? And like it just makes the experience very clunky versus like the core workers that they're used to and how they're managing it. So I think that is fundamentally also like a big difference with us, where like from the very get-go, whether you're in the US, in the UK, in Nigeria, in Japan, like we kind of built horizontally there, right? And we kind of took it from there, which makes it a bit easier, right? So it was which country you're from, but then what worker type are you going to be, right? Because being the first, I think the largest AR provider in the market today, understanding all forms of worker was very important for us as well, right? And then, well, actually, when it comes to the second part of what you said, I agree with you. And I think we've done a actually pretty good job at building the suite of solution around the HCM, like you said, the learning product, the performance racks, etc. But one thing that we've been working on pretty heavily that no one really has, apart from making it AI first, etc., is the global aspect, the global aspect of this, right? Like when you're going through, offering learning courses or performing performance reviews on someone in the US versus someone in Germany versus someone in France, like at the very core, how do you manage compliance at scale and how do you actually deliver this in a way that works is something that most companies overlook because they're not usually global, right? They just build that performance review product, and being able to offer this at the core, right, like global compliance and making it better every day, I think is going to be a very significant differentiator over time.
No, it's something that I don't think some of the US-centric partners fully even understand that that's a problem, but I'm like, we can't.
they don't. It's actually quite interesting because on like it's kind of been my story at Deel with Shwo, where very early on I used to hop on calls with customers and say like, no, you cannot pay someone in France via PayPal or TransferWise as a contractor. You need to make sure you have the right documents, right contracts, etc. And there was always a lot of education around like you cannot do this. You need to do it right. And over time, I think we were right? Like, and the market started shifting towards the solutions that we built. I think it's the same thing across all of the things, which is like when you talk to a great people success leader, right, an HRBP, they might not see it because they're usually, applying what they know in their country. But then over time, like if I'm telling you that managing performance in Japan is not the same thing as managing performance in the US, you go, oh yeah, actually I understand. Like, and eventually you need to care more as you go more global and as you run into complicated terminations without having done the right processes.